So we're going to look at potential players that can strengthen Manchester United. 6 in total. We've got 2 defenders, 2 midfielders, and 2 attackers. But I'm going to leave it to Stevie Nicol to decide where we start simply by answering this question. Which area of the field, defence, midfield, or attack, Stevie, do Manchester United most need to strengthen?
Well, I wouldn't say there's one that supersedes another, because they all need strengthening. I mean, that's just a fact. Defensively, they let in far too many goals, and my goodness, a good job De Gea's back to pretty much his best. In the middle of the park, they can't seem to dominate anybody. And going forward, there's certainly a lack of goals, in my opinion, and probably creativity. So the truth is, they need strengthening just as important in the back as they do in the middle and as they do in the front. Take your pick.
Okay, let's start at the back somewhere you know well, having played there in your career. Jules Kounde of Sevilla, really good centre-back. I think the chances of him going to Chelsea now look doomed because they've been in for him for a couple of transfer windows. And Ronald Araujo, who played at right back for Barcelona against Real Madrid at the Bernabeu in El Clasico at the weekend. However, he can also play as a centre-back. So Jules Kounde, first of all, is that a player that Manchester United should be targeting?
Oh dear. Listen, I think Kounde is probably better than what they've got right now, but that's not a ringing endorsement. I think the fact that he hasn't been taken yet by anybody tells you that they're not convinced. Teams are not convinced by him. Maybe it's the price tag. 68 million, I believe, is what Sevilla want for him. I'm not so sure he's worth that. I think right now he is a decent defender. I don't think he's the finished article, but maybe you take a guy that's not the finished article if you can get him for less money. So again, not a ringing endorsement that he's better than what they've got, but I'm not spending 68 million on the guy. So yeah, and not a ringing endorsement. I mean, Araujo's a little bit the same for me. You know, Barcelona, in my opinion, it's centre-back, have real problems. And he has played centre-back and on occasions has looked quite good at centre-back. But again, he still has a lot of learning to do. And Barcelona need to find centre-backs. And if they've got anybody, and everybody thinks Araujo could be the answer, if you've got somebody like him, then you keep him. You don't sell him. Because you can't rely on Langley. You certainly can't rely on Eric Garcia. And Gerard Piqué is doing them a favour right now by still playing. So, unfortunately for Manchester United, your 2 choices right now, probably Araujo and Kounde. I'm not convinced about either the 2 of them, but if you push me, of the 2, I'd probably take Kounde.
Before we get on to the midfield, Stevie, I think we look at what's already there. Is it Harry Maguire plus another? Is it Raphael Varane plus 1? Is it Lindelof plus 1? Or is it 2 new centre-backs that are required? And if so, where does that leave Harry Maguire?
Well, I think if everybody's fit, then it's Varane. The problem is Varane's having trouble staying fit these days. But if he's fit, it's Varane and somebody else. Harry's having a tough time. As is Lindelof and Bailly. I don't know. You never quite know the situation with him. So yeah, they got problems at centre back, no question.
Okay, let's move on to midfield. Paul Pogba's doing yet more interviews saying that United's season's pretty much over, which isn't a help to the rest of the team, and talking about where he might play in the future. So if we look at the defensive midfield area, Declan Rice for Man United has been going about for a long time. And what about Aurelien Tchouameni of Monaco? Similar type player, defensive midfielder, can get about the play. Rice or Aurelien Tchouameni, to either of those float your boat for Manchester United's defensive midfield position?
I would think that Declan Rice, in my opinion, if I'm at Manchester United, should be the next player they sign. 100%. You know, hear all this talk about Man United trying to get Haaland and all these forwards and this. And, you know, there's a reason why we talk about the middle of the park being the engine room, because everything stems from it, whether it's going forward or whether it's defending. And if there's one man in the Premier League right now who's not playing at one of the so-called big clubs that influences big time in every single game, whether it's relegation fodder like Norwich or whether it's the top teams like City and Liverpool, this guy makes a difference. So for me, as good as Tchouameni could be, I don't think he's there yet. I think, yes, he does make challenges, but too many times it's last-ditch challenges. He's on the ground. You know, I think he has to learn the game a little bit more and learn how to read it a bit more. And then he won't be on his back so much making challenges. He'll be reading it. He'll be intercepting it. He'll be dealing with it quicker. So for me, Tchouameni's not quite the finished article that Declan Rice is, because Declan Rice right now needs to go and further his career. He's been absolutely brilliant for West Ham. If he goes, when he goes, West Ham fans can't have any problem with that. He served them just as much as anybody that's ever played for West Ham. He's been fantastic. He's been a great servant, but he needs to take the next step in his career, and that would be going to a big club. And if I'm Manchester United, he's the first guy I sign. Forget your centre-back, forget your centre-forward. He, to me, right now, is the very type of player, not because of what he does on the field as well, as far as playing, but just the character the guy is. He pulls everybody at West Ham together. And if there's one side that need that right now, it's Manchester United.
If Manchester United don't finish fourth and don't qualify for the Champions League, do they still have in their favour the fact that they are Manchester United, the fact they are still a huge pool, and the fact that Declan Rice might easily go there ahead of possibly a side that's going to be in the Champions League next season?
No, Manchester United, 100% have got pull. Declan Rice knows who Man United are. He knows the history. He knows everything about them. You know, if you're trying to take Declan Rice, you're basically saying, Declan, we want you to be the start of the new Manchester United. I mean, what player is not going to dream about being the start of the new Manchester United? Just the thought of it as a player is like, wow, they think I'm that good. So, yeah, I don't think Manchester United finishing fourth or fifth is going to make any difference to signing somebody like Declan Rice right now.
Okay, let's move further forward to the striking area. And again, there's plenty of creativity already at Old Trafford. It might mean, depending on who the new manager is, that there's a tweak in formation. So the two players that we've identified, two very talented players, two very quick players that know where the back of the net is, Victor Osimhen or Darwin Nunez. Out of those two, who do you like most, Stevie?
I think there's no question that Osimhen is further along than Darwin Nunez. Darwin Nunez he looks a great prospect. You know, he's a handful. He's big, he's strong, as you say. He's got pace. He scores some goals. But again, I think in his maturity, he's not quite as far ahead as Osimhen is. I think Osimhen could be pretty much the finished article. And if you're going to Manchester United and you're the centre forward, which he would have to be, and he would have to take over from Ronaldo, then you have to be ready for that type of challenge. And I think Osimhen is. You know, you don't want anything to do with this guy. I mean, as far as defending from the front, something that Ranić is always talking about, and if he brings somebody in, I'm guessing that's what it's going to be about as well. You got the perfect candidate for that. You know, is he good in the air? He's absolutely fantastic in the air. He's scored some great goals. Does he run the channels? Yes, he does. He runs the channels. Again, he holds the ball up. He brings people in and he scores goals. Now, if that's not an endorsement to sign somebody, I'm not sure what is, because I don't think this guy's really got a flaw in his game. I certainly haven't seen it recently. And moving forward, a club like Man United needs pretty much the finished article. Certainly now they do, because of the problems they're having. So as good as Darwin Nunez is and could be, again, right now they need the finished article. And I think Osimhen is as close to that right now as he will ever be.
A lot of talented players there, Stevie. Two takeaways from what you've said. One, we need to go and get Declan Rice.
Yeah.
And two, it doesn't matter. Well, it does if they're not in the Champions League for them financially, but it will not preclude them, according to you, from getting the type of player that they're looking for, i.e. Declan Rice. Time will tell over the next few months, but Manchester United certainly need to add to their squad in the summer.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.